Well, hi folks, welcome back to the Sty Shack. Time for a side story. Okay, I'm sure you all noticed the title of this one. Crotch fired 12 gauge. Some of you fellas out there, some of the gals might even, I think the gals probably get a bigger laugh out of it than the guys. And some of you fellas out there just might feel sympathetic for Sty for a change. Okay, here we go. Okay, when I was living out west with my family, for a small period of time we had rented this really nice cottage. It was a 3-bedroom cottage. 2 small bedrooms upstairs for the kids and a master bedroom downstairs for me and the spouse and excuse me. And we had a nice wide open floor plan. The living room and kitchen were all open air. The downstairs was awesome. So anyway, for our table, our dining table, we used an 8-foot long picnic table with 2 picnic benches. And it worked great for our family of 6. Well, okay, I'll get back to the table. Now this friend of mine that I had just done a video about, Lester's Bogey Buns. Old Lester. He approached me and said, I've got a few guns that I'd like to sell, and before I do, I thought I'd offer them to you and let you take a look at what I got. And I said, oh, thanks, yeah, sure. I'll look at what you got. Well, it worked out good, because he had a .270 Winchester, was a done deal for the price he wanted for it. Done deal. Said, I'll take it. Didn't need to know any more about it, not at the price. And then he had this Ithaca Deer Slayer 12 gauge with an 18-inch barrel on it, designed for shooting deer slugs. I wanted that gun for my brush gun. I really did. And I said, okay, now the Ithaca, however, I said, tell me, how's it shoot? Is it a clean pump? You know, does it slide? Is it really a quality gun? Because I had no experience with it, that Ithaca, okay? And he says, I can't tell you. And I go, what? And he goes, no, I bought that gun a few years ago from a guy over in Minnesota that was down and out, and I just wanted to help him out. And so I bought that gun from him because he needed a few bucks. And he said, I've never fired it. Not once. He says, I've never fired it once. I don't know anything about it except what it is. I said, well, okay, buyer beware, you know, yeah, that's fine. If you don't know anything, at least you're honest about it. And again, at the price, I couldn't pass it up. I said, I'll take it. I'll take the gun. So, a couple of nights later, I'm sitting at that picnic table in our dining area, and behind me, I'm sitting on one of the picnic benches, straddling the bench, you know, leg on either side of the bench. And behind me is our living room with a sofa with all 4 kids, all 4 of our kids, on that sofa watching a movie on TV. In front of me is my spouse. She's sitting like I am, but facing me, 8 feet away, with her back against the wall. I've got that Ithaca Deer Slayer on the table, and I'm cleaning it. I cleaned that whole, tore it completely down, and cleaned the whole gun, put it all back together, and I wanted to see how the action felt, knowing where my kids were, knowing where she was. So I put 4 rounds into the chamber, and I pumped one in, put one in the tube. Took that gun and I checked it, double checked it. Safety was on the black. And my ex said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm checking the safety." And she goes, "How do you know that the safety's on?" And I'm holding it so that she can, and I'm holding the gun vertically. The barrel's pointing at the ceiling. And I told her, I said, "You see this little button here on the trigger guard? You push that button." And I pushed it, and I said, "You see how it turned red?" And she goes, "Yeah." I pushed it again, and it turned black. I said, "Now, red is hot, black is not. So if it's on red, touch that trigger and she's going to go off. If it's on black, it's on safe." I said, "Don't ever count on that 100%, but it's on safe when it's black." She said, "Oh, okay." Well, so I can't remember what I was doing, but I turned to the right, and I was reaching for something, and my ex said, "So if it's on black, you can pull the trigger and it's not going to go off?" And I said, "Yeah." And I tipped the gun down, and it was pointing towards underneath. We had a staircase that went up, and under that staircase was a little storage room kind of thing, and just the next wall was the bathroom wall. And I pointed the barrel of the gun at the base of the staircase. And I go, "Yeah, see?" And I squeezed the trigger. Could have been a fatal error if I didn't have that gun pointed in the right direction. Now, the butt of that gun was about an inch and a half from my crotch when it went off. It slid me. Now, I'm not kidding. And she can vouch for it. She's said, "I seen every bit of it." It slid me about 4 inches on that bench backwards. That Ithaca can kick like a mule. Plus the fact it was an inch and a half away from me, it had all that time to travel. Well, I jumped up and I ran in the other room, and I locked the gun up, put it away, and I come back and I sat on the bench and I go, and you could have heard a mouse fart in that room. Nobody saying nothing. They're all wondering, what's he gonna do? And all I said is, nobody in this household is allowed to repeat what just happened here. Oh no, everybody's just, oh no, we won't say a word. It was an accident, we're not saying a word. Well, okay. The next day I didn't do nothing. I could hardly walk. I turned quite black and blue, in fact, from that impact. The following day, however, I was feeling better, so I thought, hey, I'm going to head to town early. I'm going to catch myself a cup of coffee and a breakfast in town, and I'll probably just go riding around in the backcountry just for something to do. So I head to town, go to the local cafe, sit down. Waitress comes over, pours me my coffee right away. They all knew I has to have his coffee. And here comes the owner out. He goes, "You having breakfast?" I go, "Yeah, this morning I'm having breakfast." And I told him what I wanted for breakfast, and he says, "You got it. It'll be up in just a couple of minutes." And he says, "And this one's on the house." I don't know. That caught me off guard. Because Bob, the owner, in his own way, he was cheap. He don't buy you breakfast. He ain't buying you breakfast unless he feels he owes you something. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on that he's buying my breakfast? Well, he walks away, and I turn and I kind of look through the restaurant, and there's 2 other guys sitting at the counter. All of a sudden I realize 80% of that restaurant, and there's a lot of people in there, is staring at me. They're staring at me. Well, Bob comes back out of the kitchen with my breakfast and sets it down, and I go, "Bob, what's up? What's going on? Why are you buying my breakfast, and why are all these people staring at me?" And he goes, "You're the man." I go, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, you're the man." I said, what in the heck are you talking about? He goes, we all heard about it. Anybody that can do that with a 12 gauge, yeah, you're the man. I go, now where in the heck did you hear that from? He goes, his waitress is actually his spouse, his wife. He says, my wife told me all about it. And I said, where did she hear it? And he goes, oh, she heard it from so-and-so. And then the light came on bright as day. Oh, well, so-and-so just happens to be my wife's best friend. So she must have told her in confidence, not with confidence that she wouldn't tell anybody else, but told her in confidence, which didn't stay there. Her best friend decided to share it with some of the loosest lips in my little world that I didn't want these guys to know at all. Those guys, boy, they hit town. Boom! We gotta tell people about this, man. Can't believe it. Sty fired that 12 gauge from his crotch. Everywhere I went that day in town, I went to the post office. The postmaster, he goes, Sty, oh, you're a tough one, boy. You're a tough one. The postmaster knew. I go to our only little grocery store in town. It's a general store, hardware, groceries, all kinds of stuff. I walk in there, I can't remember what I needed, but I walked in there and got something. The gal, the cashier, the clerk at the desk, she goes, oh boy, oh boy. She says, if my boyfriend was only half the man you are, Sty. I go, what are you talking? And she goes, I heard what you did with that shotgun. Wow. I got the heck out of this store. Later that day, I stopped. I went driving around in the back country, come back. I stopped at one of the pubs in town. I walked in there, and old Toby, the guy that owned the place, that's the first thing he does is he comes from down at the end of the bar, comes scoot down to me with a big fresh mug of beer and sets it in front of me, and he says, that one's on the house. He says, and because it was a 12 gauge, you got a free tab for a dozen of them if you want them. I drank down that beer as fast as I could, and I got my tail out of that bar, and I headed home. Didn't say a word for the longest time. My spouse asked me, why are you so quiet? I said, because someone else wasn't quiet about what happened here the other night. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, the whole town knows. I said, your friend told her husband, who told my buddies, who told the whole darn town. So now Sty is the man. I'll tell you what, I'd rather not be the man. Rather not be the man. You don't want to ever do that. Don't do that. Sty is telling you, don't do it. There you go. There's a Sty story for you. Hey, if you're not subscribed yet, don't forget, you can punch me right in the ugly mug and get away with it, and you end up subscribed. Some videos you can catch over here on the side. Ring the bell if you want to be notified for my next video. And don't forget to keep your eyes open for when I start going live at the Sty Shack. Until the next time, you all have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye.